Welcome everyone back to my channel 42 Degree. We're gonna talk a little bit about anxiety today. It's a topic I know way too much about. It is something I have suffered from my entire life, and it is something I feel I can help you with. At least give you a little bit of advice of the things that have helped me. I've done enough research on it to at least know what worked for me, and it's something I've been able to greatly get under control. I know when it's going to happen. I know what causes it for me, and I feel there's at least a little bit of advice that I can give you to help if anyone out here who is seeing this or listening to this suffers from it and does not know what to do and just can't take it. It's a real thing, and especially when you're talking about someone my age. I'm a Gen Xer, born in the mid-70s, grew up in the early 80s. This kind of stuff wasn't really talked about then. It wasn't a thing. You're a kid that just got yelled at for never being able to sit still and always breaking down into tears and just completely losing any cool you might have had whenever any kind of conflict started, or anytime your parents got on your ass about, just whatever you may have done wrong or anything like that. There's so many times in my life looking back from a kid all the way up till just a few years ago, where I just I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea whatsoever until one day I finally just decided to start learning about it. I'm going to kind of share the story of when I figured it out and what I have learned, and hopefully there's at least a little bit of advice that can help you and kind of take you on your own way. Again, none of my advice is anything that is certified or medical or anything like that. It's just from a dude who decided he was tired of not being okay and wanted to learn what he can do to at least try to make his life better. Because it can be helped. There's a lot of things that can be done, and all of my advice is simply what helps me. Take this, do your own research, figure it out. There's plenty of good sources out there. Again, none of this is just the end-all be-all what will help, but it is what has helped me, and hopefully it can help you. And while we talk about this, kind of my normal thing, we are going to get a little bit of work done in my Minecraft survival world, because Minecraft and video games is one of the things that definitely helps me stay centered. One of the things that helps me refocus. One of the things that helps me be able to realign everything I need to mentally to be able to go about and do normal everyday life, because real anxiety is something that is so crippling that you can't live. You can't do any kind of just normal everyday life stuff. It's horrible. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, but I've learned about it. I've taken the same kind of idea and mentality of, like I mentioned before, about fixing up and restoring an old motorcycle that hasn't ran. I kind of treated myself in my brain like an old bike that doesn't work right, which it kind of is, and figured out how to diagnose what was going on and hopefully some of this helps. Again, we've got this. It'll be okay. One of the first most important things to do when you're feeling a little wound up and just need a bit of a break is just to take a break and do something that relaxes you. And fishing in Minecraft is one of those things that has always worked. Always worked for me, and it's going to work again. So we're going to go head on out to the beach where this whole channel started for me, and just do a little fishing, plan out a little bit of a project I have in mind, and we're going to talk about anxiety, and I'm going to hopefully help someone that needs help. We got this. To my blockhead. I haven't had one of these sleepless nights for a while. Sometimes when you do everything right, you eat right, you exercise, you stay sober, sometimes it still just happens. Getting up and pacing is kind of one of those things you just sort of have to do. The restless energy. It's whenever I would get into one of these kind of moods, I always thought it was about my head. I always thought it was about being able to take some deep breaths and maybe sit down and meditate or something like that. And in reality, there's really nothing you can do for your head that is truly going to get rid of your anxiety or stop an anxiety attack. There's one first little trick to do is look around. You got to take your mind off of it. You're not going to solve it, but if you can take your mind off of it and at least start calming yourself down, that's a good thing. You start just by counting things. There is 1 fireplace, 2 beds. You just try to find 3 of something. 1, 2, 3 buildings out there. 1, 2, 3, 4 lanterns right there. And before you know it, you find yourself thinking and concentrating, trying to find, well, what can I find 5 of? You've already kind of gotten over it, and you're feeling a little better. I think I'm good enough to get some sleep now. I'm going to lay back down and try. We will see. And hopefully I can catch a little sleep, and then we'll start getting ready, and we'll take a little trip out to the beach in the morning. Good night. It feels good when you're finally able to get a little bit of sleep. Not a full night's sleep by any means. I know it's going to be a sort of a tired, worn-out day, but it's not my first, probably won't be my last. We'll deal with it. First, let's start getting ready. And what we are going to set up for, we are going to take a little trip back out to the beach. I want to take my fast horse. First anxiety attack I ever had was going on 20 years ago now. It was the first time I was ever just completely broke down in just down in a fetal position. Couldn't move, heart was racing, felt like I was having a heart attack, felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest. I could not pull myself together for anything. And it was over a move that was going wrong. My current wife, girlfriend at the time, we were moving from one city to another, and everything kind of fell through with the truck and the move, and we were moving a few hundred miles away, so it was something where we needed the truck to be there, and it wasn't, and it just completely set me off. And I'd never had that happen to me before. I did not know what was going on. It was not fun. Nothing that I would, nothing that I knew about. And from that point on, anxiety attacks became a little more regular of a thing. And funny enough, from that point on is really when I noticed it started getting bad for me when I started not being sober. I was never, a partier or anything as a kid, even through high school and everything. I honestly didn't have a single drink or a single hit of weed or anything until I was in my 20s. My early 20s. It was just nothing I ever really cared to do. And when I started doing that is when my mental health really started going downhill. A few years back is when my attacks started getting really, really regular. Like, they were just coming more often. They were almost getting to a point where I couldn't just sort of function at all in everyday life. I had tried medication, which the first attempt was absolutely horrible. It was Lexapro, I believe, was the medication I tried then, and it was bad enough where it was worse than the anxiety. I thought I had an aneurysm. Like, I felt something pop in my head. My heart was racing. It was not good at all. At all, at all, at all. Do we want to read this now? I don't think I brought a lead. Oh, I did bring a lead. There's a fence post right there. Yeah, we'll read this now. And it was just not good at all whatsoever. There was nothing about it that was good at all. So I just kind of got off the medication thing for a while. Decided I didn't want to try it, didn't want to do it. It just was not worth it. At all. At all, at all. And when I finally decided that it was time to start handling my anxiety the right way and learning about what was going on, because doing all of the little tricks where I sunk pretty hard into meditation, I sunk pretty hard into being healthy, and while all that's a good thing and definitely comes along with being able to handle it right, it is not the end all be all. The one thing that really surprised me, funny enough, is how anxiety is not a mental thing. It doesn't start in your head. Basically what it is when your body is stuck in a fight or flight response. You can't get it out, and your brain just doesn't know how to process it, so it just starts kind of completely going haywire. It basically thinks you're in danger all the time. So no amount of meditation, no amount of anything like that is going to help, because it's actually a physical thing. It starts in your body. So anything you do for your head will help you handle an attack, but it's not going to solve anything. What helps me the most, honestly, is just staying healthy and sober. I tried another medication. The first one I tried was, I believe, the mid-20 teens. And again, absolutely horrible experience. It was enough to turn me off of it, to where it was only about a year ago now when I was having attacks bad. But again, at that point, I realized when I was having my really bad attacks, I was really, really heavy into getting stoned and drinking, and really, really bad. And sobering up was kind of the smartest thing to do. That is where my attacks seem to have the most traction, is when I'm not taking care of myself, especially when I'm not sober. So cleaning myself up, tried the medication. It was a little bit of a different reaction. It was weird too, the way that went. It was I'm completely blanking on what the name of the medication is now. It doesn't matter, but it works entirely different than the Lexapro did. Lexapro is something where it actually helps solve the problem in your body, supposedly. It kind of attacks that and helps solve it there. The new medication that my doctor put me on, which was actually good stuff, it helped. It helps your brain stay calm during an attack, so it sort of keeps you from completely spiraling out like you tend to do when you are mid-attack, which it worked. But it was really weird, because I was still having these anxiety attacks. I was still not feeling good, but my body was completely crazy. Like, I felt the attack going on in my body, but my head was just completely calm, and I did not like that feeling at all whatsoever. It was weird. So I decided it was time. I really wanted to do it without getting on any kind of medication. I'm not on any kind of medication where, I have to take a pill every day. I'm pretty lucky where I'm taking good enough care of myself that I don't have to worry about that. And I wanted to stay that way. I didn't think I was going to get here before dark, especially after raiding that ruined portal. But here we are. We made it. Tomorrow we are just going to fish, and I'm going to talk to you about another little trick I know. Kind of goes along with anxiety, is just bad thoughts. Like I said in a couple videos ago, like, my brain is mean. Just these thoughts that will absolutely keep racing and popping out of nowhere, and there's a pretty cool trick I learned for that. Not an original one. I'm not taking credit for coming up with this. I don't remember where I heard it, but this is one that I heard, and it helps, and we're going to kind of need to go fishing for this one, because that's where the analogy comes in. Ooh, Enderman. Let me start by making myself a boat. Need one to carry around. That's the best way to have an Enderman issue. It's the best way to get them. Trick is not to look at him. Where's he at? He's right there. Push it. Ha, now he's stuck. Make sure the horse ain't in the way. See if I get a pearl from this. I did! Yay! I think we're going to go out to this island right here. Yes. Oh, I like it out here. It's just nice and relaxing. Yeah, from a couple videos ago, it's amazing how therapeutic this can be too. Another tip we're going to talk about right now then. Don't ever be afraid to talk to someone or admit when you're not okay. It's okay to not be okay. And it's really hard to beat by yourself. It's extremely challenging to beat by yourself, and it's amazing how much actually talking helps, whether it is having an amazingly supporting wife like I am lucky to have. She has dealt with it too, not nearly to the level that I do, but she's dealt with it too enough where she understands, and she's been absolutely amazing in helping me deal with it and being someone to talk to. It's the couple of Minecraft videos I've done where I've talked about it and touched on it helps out, and that is sort of the same idea as journaling. Like vlogging is kind of the same idea as journaling, which helps a lot when you're having one of those days where your brain just races, comes up with absolute every worst case scenario, gotten in fights that you haven't got in, like things that will never happen, but your brain has convinced you that it has happened, and it's really bad. Journaling is an absolutely fantastic way to help yourself get past that as well. You don't need to edit it. No one's going to read it. No one's going to see or know what you wrote. It is simply whatever thoughts you're having, just lay them out. Completely lay them out. Write down with words, like not typing, not voice to text or anything like that on your phone. Literally pen to paper. Write the words. As you're writing, you'll find yourself just feeling better, and all the things that you write about will just seem to go away, and you're not bothered by them anymore. It really helps. Journaling is a fantastic thing to do, and then there's ways, to journal the right way, where it's a daily kind of thing, where you write down things you're excited for the day, things that you didn't like about the day before, where you're actually documenting your life a lot more as opposed to just writing down the bad thoughts. But I keep on my forklift at work, we have a clipboard that we carry around with us just for, the paperwork for whatever trailers we're loading and stuff. And I keep a notepad on my clipboard just for that reason. There have been plenty of times at work where I was just having a night where I could not calm myself down. I was pissed about stuff that was not even real. And it was enough to where it was affecting my mood with other people there and affecting, my performance at work. And so it's not unheard of for someone to just sort of be sitting there on their lift writing down, because you got, paperwork and stuff you have to handle. So just sitting there on your lift, taking a couple of minutes and journaling a little bit has gotten me through a lot of really rough nights there. Journaling is a great thing to do. A lot of different techniques, a lot of different ways to do it. You may want to look into that yourself to figure out exactly what way would work for you, but it has helped me a lot. Then there's just different analogies and ways to think as it comes to the impure thoughts. And I'm going to share one analogy now that I heard, and it's actually a really good one. You're never going to stop your brain from coming up with those thoughts. Your brain is meant to think. It is doing what it is supposed to do. It is meant to process thoughts and things going on, and that's what it's supposed to do. You're never going to stop your brain from thinking. What you can do is teach it to think the right way. Imagine your brain as this big body of water. A thought, you can't just push it aside because it needs a place to live. It's there. It's part of your brain. You're never going to stop your brain from thinking that way. And when you're dealing with anxiety and everything, a lot of the first thing you need to do is acknowledge the thought. We're just going to set up my bed out here right now so that way I can stay out here. We're just going to rough it for a little bit. First thing you need to do when you're having those thoughts is acknowledge them. Almost give them a name, if you want to do that. Or I just, I kind of treat it as someone. It's like, okay, hi, I see you. I know you're there. Acknowledge the bad vibe. Acknowledge the part of your brain that is just being mean and not playing nice or anything whatsoever. You need to acknowledge it. Once you do that, it's almost the same idea as kind of standing up to a bully. It sort of knocks it back enough to where you've kind of regained control of the situation enough to where you can at least stand up for yourself and kind of control the impure thought. But that thought still needs somewhere to go. It's not just going to be, if you just try to push it down and suppress it, it's never going to completely go away. It will pop right back up really quick, all the time, over and over and over again. And it needs a place to live. If this whole big body of water is your brain, each of these, like, that's a thought right there. Each of these tiny little fish is their own thought. If you have a thought that when your brain is just running away and not playing nice whatsoever, imagine each of those bad thoughts is something that you've caught, is a fish you've caught. You, little puffer fish, are a bad thought. You are not a thought I've been wanting. You are not what I need to deal with right now. Thank you for coming by. I see you. I acknowledge you. I need you to go away. Cast it off. Just throw it back into the water. It has its own infinite space to live and swim around. And I've actually physically made the motion of unhooking a fish and tossing it back into the water. And it sounds cheesy, sounds corny, but just the physical act of doing it and the mental act of acknowledging the thought and standing up to it has helped get me past a point where the thoughts just kind of stopped after a little bit, and I was able to just concentrate on work again. There's a bunch of different little techniques you can figure out depending on your own situation. It's all a very personal thing. These are a couple little techniques and things that have helped me. Maybe they'll help you. At the very least, it'll get you thinking about it. Sometimes that's all you need to do. It's like, oh, what he tried didn't work. Very possibly. But at least it has you thinking about it and doing your own kind of research. And the more research you do, the more you find you're not alone. The more you find that there is a lot of good resources. You're on YouTube already if you're seeing this. There's a lot of good resources that you can look up and start learning, and you'll find creators that work for you. The ones that have worked for me a lot are, when it comes to meditation, there's a guy named Jeff Warren that I really like. When I need to just sort of slow my brain down, I put on one of his guided meditations, and it helps a lot. There are plenty of others that may work better for you. He's the one that works for me in terms of learning about anxiety. And another thing that actually helps a lot, there's basically a system of nerves that runs through your body called the vagus nerve. It runs all the way through your body, and it is directly related to calming down. As I mentioned before, when you are anxious, your body is stuck in a flight or flight response. There are different techniques you can do to sort of massage the vagus nerve. There's a few points of your body where it comes up close enough to the skin where, there's different little massage techniques that will help calm you down. And it is crazy how it helps if you do it right. It's very impressive. And one girl, her name is Suki Baxter, kind of a, hippie yogi sort of girl, very smart when it comes to, just the human body and different things to do to sort of help regulate your nervous system and stuff like that, because anxiety is a nervous system issue. And I really like her. She has given me a lot of good information. And then in terms of just basic therapy, different ways to think about how you're anxious and different ways to think about getting yourself better. The page is called Therapy in a Nutshell. That one has given me a lot of good information as well. I'm sure there's some that are better. If anyone here has any other recommendations, if you like what I said, if you have better recommendations of your own, please drop them in the comments. It might, I may learn something and find someone new that I dig just as much as the ones I did. Maybe someone else watching this or reading the comments will be able to, have a different place to look. So any experiences you have, any advice anyone... Ooh, an enchanted fishing pole. Nice. Yeah, please help out. What I'm kind of hoping for here is to start a little bit of a community of It doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, I've openly admitted I'm a Gen Xer, a little bit old, kind of an older dude playing video games and stuff, but there's a lot of us out there. Anyone who's old enough to watch this and just has any sort of need of help with your mental health. I'm kind of hoping to start a little bit of a community here of, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to admit it. And the more help you have and the more you talk about it, the more it helps a whole lot. So I don't know, any anxiety tips or stories anyone has that they would like to share, feel free. Any opinion you have of the advice and just the stories and stuff that I've kind of had to tell, feel free to let me know. I would very much appreciate a like and subscribe if you dig this or if you vibe with it. And again, if not, I at least hope you kind of learn something and give you a little bit of a break from whatever hectic day you have to deal with yourself. Today, I'm going to need to go out in the rain. I already know at work I'm going to be out in the yard truck moving trailers around my distribution center, and which is fine. I like the job, but it's supposed to be rainy all night tonight. At least it's going to be warm. Oh, look at all the Nautilus that just popped up. At least it's going to be warm. It's going to be like in the 50s, and that's really nice compared to the teens that I've been doing this job in. But it's going to be rainy, so I know I'm going to have a little bit of a stressful, uncomfortable night, but I'm just going to put on my speaker. Don't know, probably start with a couple of podcasts, then move on to some music, but just keep something going and just pick through the night. I'll be okay. Oh, that looked like a creeper in the that little bit of that right there. It looked like a creeper at first. I was like, I didn't know they can go in the water like that, but they can't. So, all right, I would like my bed back. Head on back over. I'm sure there's a lot of other different kind of tips and techniques that I haven't touched on here. Those are just a few that I use fairly regularly that kind of help me almost pick off a bad situation before it even starts. It's almost like a preventative maintenance kind of thing, if you will. Same thing as doing an oil change and, cleaning your air filter and stuff like that on your motorcycle instead of just letting it go, and then when it gets bad, it gets really bad. If you sort of keep up on the preventative maintenance, it makes everything better. So, I hope some of this advice actually helps out. I hope it's something that you can use. I hope at the very least it gets you to think, and if you have anything, whether it's anxiety that you're dealing with or whether it's any other kind of problem, if being able to stop and just break it down and really think about it and learn about it is a great way to just start tackling your issues, whether it's a physical issue, a mental issue, whether it's a problem you're having with an old car or motorcycle you're trying to restore and you can't figure it out. Slowing down and thinking is always a great place to start. Doing some research and going from there. My channel name is 42 Degree. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate a like and subscribe if you dug this. If not, I hope everyone out there has a great day. Thank you. Bye. We got this.